Good evening, friends. Good evening, humans. Good evening, lovely Bitcoiners. Good evening, crypto dudes of all the kind. A beautiful subject today. Title goes like this: Why Bitcoin is so deadly for central banking system or systems. Yet we thought there is many different central banks, one Federal Reserve Bank, many treasuries and so on, many individual smaller private banks. So how come that we end up in such a massive and enormous financial system just for us to be able to, let's say, operate or live? Why do we need this financial system at all? Big question. Creation of money as such did not come from God. This is a dark magic cabal technique played for hundreds of years, probably thousands of years, and we'll learn this soon, what and how has been kind of developing. Yet until this point we did not have a solution. We did not have a way out to be absolutely enslaved into such a huge prison of debt, taxes, interests, and total deception that we are actually paying interest on the fake currency, dollar, euro. Very fake, because it has been created from nothing. Why did we allow it? Well, not really to blame anybody, we just been born into this, yet now it's a time to recognize there is a solution. It's called Bitcoin. It's called blockchain and cryptocurrencies. They are coming in a huge amounts. So why is Bitcoin so deadly for central banks? Because it's not created by central banks. What the central banks were doing, they just printed as many millions as they wanna, give it to the Federal Reserve, and they charging all the interests back to the people. With the Bitcoin, it's absolutely opposite. Because they did not create it, they cannot charge any interest. And the biggest advantage of this, if you cannot charge any interest on the Bitcoin or any kind of cryptocurrency creation, you're not in control of the financial system. When you're not in the control of the financial system, you're basically losing control of all the profits that you ever made, just based on an interest. The most biggest advantage, in my kind of opinion, it's Bitcoin cannot be lended out because it has to be created first, and it's limited amount of creation. Every 10 minutes one Bitcoin for the next how many years until we reach 21 million of the Bitcoins, or 4 quadrillion of Satoshis. So with this amount, every Satoshi is at the present time very small fraction of the cent. Until we reach that one Bitcoin worth couple of billion, then the Satoshi will be very nice exchange. I'm using a couple of billion of dollars or euros, doesn't matter, because these entities of the fake currency will just disappear, will be absolutely wiped out, but slowly diminishing until the Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies take over. Check the stories about why these 2 presidents were killed, Lincoln, Kennedy. Now they don't have anybody to kill because Bitcoin is global. And this is the biggest trick that the true creation of light make it. such a difficult job for the bankers. They lost total control of it. Yet they will not admit until they are completely gone. So it doesn't matter. Admission doesn't mean that it does not working. Lincoln tried to infuse its own, greenback dollar printed by the government for the people. Yet the bankers of the central bank, they did not like it. They were not called central bank at that time, but anyway, so they go to the extent to just execute him or eliminate him. Another very brave attempt was done by John Fitzgerald Kennedy, who tried to bring their own printed dollar by the government, not by the banks. So it will be non-bearing currency, non-interest bearing currency. Now we have fiat dollar, fiat euro, fiat yen. They only actually carry interest on the amount that has been given to the government to operate. And then all this interest is actually non-created value that has to go back to their pockets. And because people cannot create so much interest working and creating and so on, the bankers are just taking over all the assets, until now. Because now Prime Creator put a stop on it. The UCC came in a full open window for everybody to see. The OPPT has totally taken over and returned back all the stolen properties, land, resources, air, water, and so on, back to the people. So another interesting one for the Bitcoin, why the governments cannot charge taxes on the Bitcoin. I mean, you know why taxes are here. So to be in total slavery without any particular reason, but to be oppressed. And they can actually see and dedicate how much you can, have a money, how much you can have in your little piggy saving bank, and that's all. So with the Bitcoin, they have no fucking idea what to do with this. They are trying to kind of hijack certain aspects of the wallet that the Bitcoin is consisting of, by centralizing the wallets on the internet, let's say on the certain Coinbase or any other big of these wallet platforms. Yet when you realize you can have your wallet on your computer and nobody can steal this from you, because simply you close your computer, it's inaccessible to anybody. Even if it's open and they try to hijack it, they cannot, because it has to be pushed from you towards wherever it goes. If they trick you and they try to kind of, convince you that you have to just give them something and that they will give you something back, then this is absolutely your responsibility and your fault if you lose this. But they cannot go into your account, into your computer, and just steal it. So good things are that the Bitcoin and blockchain is totally decentralized. They call it peer-to-peer, meaning that I don't need a third party. I don't need the bankers in between to make any kind of transactions. This is a real currency, Bitcoin and all the cryptocurrency, because it has been created. It's not just like created as the fiat dollars. They need like 17 billion, so they just print it and raise the debt ceiling, so they actually borrow, so they'll be paying for next couple of 100 years. To me, this is the most ridiculous, and no presidents dare to do this until now that Trump is doing. Yet he will not be doing it only for United States. It is done on the global basis because Bitcoin and cryptocurrency brought a total widespread, almost like a global, no borders communication between any party possible. Anybody, any two beings can communicate and exchange the currency. And it's a real currency. It's called cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Satoshi, any kind of other coins that they start really mining slowly and then start building up. There are attempts in the last couple of months. They disrupt the Bitcoin blockchain by bringing Bitcoin Cash. They even took a name and they added on cash. Like Bitcoin in itself is not cashable. Like this is absolutely, ludicrous to even compare it. Yet they did it, and suddenly the value since August 1st, when they did some kind of spin-off of the Bitcoin blockchain, their value becomes $600 for each Bitcoin Cash. And they're confusing people by doing a different codes, BCC, BCH. Absolutely ludicrous what they're trying to do. Yet it's absolutely impossible to steal and to interrupt this chain, because this chain exists. Blockchain of the Bitcoin exists for 10 years and it's building, and has all the recordings from the previous actions, for previous transactions. So nobody actually can steal until you allow everybody else to go into your account. Same with any other aspect of your life, energetic, spiritual, health aspect. If you allow doctors to come into your body and to steal from you, doesn't matter, blood, organs, pump you in with the medications or chemotherapy, you allow it. So they will do this. But if you say, this is mine, this is my currency, my physical body is my currency, I will not allow anybody to mess up my currency. This is what Bitcoin actually showing all the world. None of these attacks will have any influence, any response whatsoever. There'll not be like a dent on it. It will actually make it much stronger. There was, in last, let's say 10 years of operations, there was about 160 drops in value of the Bitcoin. But it drops from, let's say, goes from $0.2 a Bitcoin when it started to $100. So when the drops happens, it drops from $100 to let's $80 or $50. So it goes like, say, $50 less. Like we have 50% decline on the currency. Who cares? I mean, who cares if you're realizing that in 2008, it was 0.2 cents, one Bitcoin. So how come you can even compare? This is like comparing apples with a tree. That's what people are doing when they're comparing dollar manipulations with the Bitcoin fluctuations. In my view, what you're seeing very often when the Bitcoin goes up and then holds, then drops down, it's related to massive attacks of the dark financial system. And they're doing all different techniques. They cannot even disrupt the network anymore. Internet is, everything is happening on the cloud. Basically, there's no way, whenever I have a chance, I plug into the cloud, or let's say the internet, and I connect with my, let's say, peers that I want to communicate with. Period. I buy services, I sell services, I send gifts, and nobody will be telling me that if I send 10 Bitcoins to anybody else, that I have to pay taxes on this. Or the ones who receive a Bitcoin, they have to pay taxes in their country. So consider this is a massive trick that Bitcoin is doing on the existing financial system, just by absolutely draining it out of their bubble or their whatever fake power, because it's real, has fully intrinsic value that came from a person, a human who is involved in creating it on its computer, and the computer itself, electrical energy was spent to create $100 billion in US dollars. They just need to put some zeros behind whatever the numbers, and that's it. They kind of created a huge amount of nothing from pretty much nothing. Yet this nothing, the way how the old system worked, they charge you interest, and they, even if you earn some money, they charge you taxes. So I have a top 10 list. I'll go quickly for the Bitcoin. Why is Bitcoin so deadly for central banking system? Number one, first, it's decentralized. Number two, it's created by a real human and in collaboration with the computer. Number three, Bitcoin is no interest bearing currency. Number four, it's absolutely non-taxable by fake governments. Number five, Bitcoin operating on the credit, the value of the credit, instead of the value of the debt, as the old US dollar, euros, and so on. Number six, it's scalable. Bitcoin is scalable to one of 100 million Satoshis. So each Satoshi, 100 million Satoshis, it's one Bitcoin. Number seven, it's a fixed supply in creation. It'll be about 21 million Bitcoins with 4 quadrillion Satoshis. Number 8, it's based on POW, meaning proof of work. Only when the work is done, after 10 minutes, a Bitcoin is created, or a block or fraction of the Bitcoin. Number 9, absolutely losing all needs for banking agents to own one or to create another one. So you can create your own currency. Number 10, it can never be stolen. So I bless you all who are in the Bitcoins, and if you're not, you'll be very much soon. So be it.